Chinese language is different from English. When you write an English letter, for example, an English word hello, you can tell HE probably is pronounced as H, LLO, L. But in Chinese, when you write down two characters, Ni, Hao, when you look at them, you have no idea how to pronounce them. So we created a system called Pinyin. If I write them in Chinese, this is how we write it, which means it's a system to help us to mark the pronunciation. So when you look at them, you can tell how to pronounce it. So for the first character, we pronounce it as ni. So we use alphabetical 6 letters as English in English, but we added an accent mark on top of it. So it's pretty much the letter N and letter I. We got rid of the dot and put this accent mark to tell us which accent it is. So we will talk about 4 accents in Chinese later. And Hao, also we have letter HAO, and we put an accent mark on A. So when you look at the pinyin, you can tell how to pronounce these 2 words. Well, a lot of the pronunciations of the letters are kind of similar to, some of them are kind of similar to English, but not all of them. So for example, ni, n, is kind of similar to English pronunciation, n. And this e, it's a little different. Instead of having I or e, we have e. So n, i, ni, na, i, ni. Without accent mark, if we just put this, in Chinese, we probably pronounce it as ni, ni, ni. But with the accent mark, you have to change the tone to ni, ni. And with similarly, H, we read it in Chinese, we pronounce it as h, h. And AO together, we pronounce it as ao, ao. So how. But because we have accent mark, so we put the accent mark on top of it, which it means, and we read as how. So that changes the pronunciation, the tone. So this is very different from English. English, when you change your tone, for example, if I have what, and you can have different way to read it. What or what. So you may have read it in different tones. It's still the same character, the same English word. But English, in Chinese, it's gonna, when you change the tone, it's gonna be a different word. So for example, if I change this tone, ni, it has in Chinese, as I said before, that has 4 tones. It could be ni, horizontal line on top of the letter I, or we can have the second going up tone, ni, or ni, or ni. So this ni, you cannot just say I'm going to pick one of them to use, or but in Chinese you can't. You have to, the tone never changes. So for example, I often notice like sometimes when we read a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you learn it individually, maybe this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But when we read it together, we may change the tone to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can do that, which does not change the word. Everyone still knows we talk about these 9 symbols. but in Chinese, you won't be able to do that. For example, the first one, we read it as yi, the second one as er, the third one is san, and this one is si, wu. Notice that tone mark. We have the first, second, third, 4 tone marks. You won't be able to. So if I read then say yi, when you learn it individually, it's yi, er, san, si, wu, liu, qi, ba, jiu. But when you read them together, it still gonna has to be the same. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9. You cannot change it to what we do in English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You cannot say 1、2、3、4、5、6、7. Then you completely change the tone of these, and people will have no idea what you are saying. So when you put them together, the tone never changes. So you will still stay as E, R. So that's the difficult part of learning Chinese. So in this video, we learned something about Chinese pronunciation. The 4 tones. E, the first tone is E, straight, horizontal. The tone stays at the same level. The second tone is ni, sort of like what. And the third tone is ni. This is a difficult one. It goes down and goes up. So it's ni. And the first one is, the last one is ni. It's like what. The third tone is sort of like in English we say ouch, ow, kind of like that. So ni. Again, the important thing is when we learned the tone, never change it. Don't say hello, or what. You cannot do that in English. So if you learned ni hao, it's always gonna be ni hao. You cannot say ni hao or you just change the tone of each word character as you want. You cannot do that like English. So, and we have these 2 characters. So most of the time we're not going to learn how to write because that's difficult. It takes lots of repetition. You have to copy them. So we're just going to learn the pronunciations. So from now on, we're just going to use the pronunciations. But you need to know, even if you learned, you won't be able to read anything because most of the time in the reading, this is what you see in the book. You're not going to see the pronunciation in the book. But because if we just want to learn pronunciation, so we don't care about the writing, that's probably the next step. You want to learn how to read and write, how to read the book and write Chinese characters. So we're just going to focus on the pinyin part because it's a little easier. Okay, so if we learn these two are 2 individual characters in Chinese, not like English. You have 1 word. Literally, ni means in English means you, and hao means good. So when we say hello in Chinese, means you good. So that means hello. So we need to remember ni means you. Of course, the same pronunciation could have many different Chinese characters, many different meanings, but this is the corresponding character and the English meaning. Hao means good.